October 21st, 1600. A narrow valley in central Japan, 60 kilometers northeast of Kyoto. The two largest samurai armies ever fielded on Japanese soil face each other through cold morning fog. 160,000 men. The battle that will decide who rules Japan for the next 268 years. But what if, on the western side of that field, the 70,000 samurai under Ishida Mitsunari are not facing Tokugawa Ieyasu's Eastern Army? What if they are facing 500 United States Marines, dropped intact from a Marine Expeditionary Unit of 2024, with the gear in their packs and nothing more? No air support, no artillery battery, no resupply. 500 riflemen against 70,000 swords, spears, bows, and matchlock guns. The samurai do not know what a rifle is. The Marines have never seen a Tanegashima fired. The valley is 4 kilometers long, and there is nowhere to run. This is the rule set. The Marines arrive at dawn on the day of the historical battle, on the low ridge at Mount Sasao, where Mitsunari's command tent stood. They carry one standard combat load each, roughly 210 rounds of 5.56 meter for their M27 rifles, fragmentation grenades, a sidearm, and a knife. The platoon weapons company has 6 M240B medium machine guns, 3 M250 caliber heavy machine guns on tripods, 4 M224 60mm mortars with 60 rounds total, and 4 Javelin missiles. No vehicles, no drones, no radio link to anyone in their own century. The samurai begin where they began in real history, in their historical formations, under their historical commanders. The fog will lift at or 8 how was, exactly as it did. Mitsunari will give the order to advance. 500 against 70,000, a ratio of 1 to 140. Consider what each side is actually bringing to the valley. A United States Marine in 2024 is a rifleman first. His primary weapon, the M27 infantry automatic rifle, fires the 5.56 meter NATO round at a muzzle velocity of 940 meters per second. Effective range against a man-sized target, 550 meters. The bullet leaves the barrel faster than the speed of sound and arrives before the sound does. He wears level full plate armor capable of stopping a 7.62 meter armor-piercing round at point-blank range. A 16th century matchlock ball, fired at 300 meters per second from a smoothbore barrel, will not perforate that plate. It will not crack the ceramic. The Marine carries a Kevlar helmet, night vision, a tourniquet, and 40 years of accumulated infantry doctrine telling him exactly what to do when outnumbered. His machine gunners are the real problem for the other side. The M240B fires the 7.62 meter NATO round at 650 rounds per minute, in effective bursts out to 1,800 meters. The M250 caliber, designed in 1918 and unchanged in any meaningful way since, fires around the length of a man's hand at 890 meters per second, accurate beyond 2 kilometers. A 50 round passes through a wooden shield, through the man holding it, through the man behind him, and continues until it loses energy at roughly 6.5 kilometers. Ishida Mitsunari's army is the most sophisticated military force in Asia in the year 1600. It is not an army of swordsmen. That image is romance. It is an army of disciplined infantry organized in 3 arms. Ashigaru spearmen with 3 to 4 meter yari, Ashigaru archers with the Yumi longbow, effective to 150 meters, and Ashigaru gunners with the Tanegashima matchlock arquebus, reverse-engineered from Portuguese designs in 1543. Mitsunari fields approximately 10,000 matchlocks among his 70,000 men. The samurai class proper, the mounted nobility with daisho sword pair and lacquered armor, makes up only a small fraction of the host and fights as heavy shock cavalry and personal commanders. Their armor is lamellar, small overlapping iron and leather plates lacquered against the weather. It stops cuts. It stops arrows below a certain draw weight. It will not stop a 5.56 millimeter round at any range a Marine can see. The matchlock has an effective range against an unarmored man of around 100 meters, a rate of fire of roughly 1 round every 20 seconds, and a reload procedure that requires the gunner to stand upright with a length of burning slow match in his hand. It is a weapon designed for volley fire in formed ranks, not for fighting an enemy who can shoot accurately from prone at 4 times the range. Mitsunari himself is 39 years old. He is an administrator, not a warrior. The men around him are warriors. Shimazu Yoshihiro of Satsuma commands 1,500 veterans on his right flank, men who have fought in Korea and lost. Otani Yoshitsugu, dying of leprosy, commands 600 from a covered palanquin, and will fight to the last man because he has nothing to live for. Kobayakawa Hideaki sits on Mount Matsuo with 15,000 men and has already secretly agreed to betray Mitsunari at the decisive moment. None of this changes when the Marines appear. The traitor is still a traitor. The dying man still dies. The fog burns off at 08:00. Phase 1. The Discovery. The samurai see, across 900 meters of rice paddy and scrubland, a thin line of figures in mottled green and brown. The figures are not in formation. They are spread at 5-meter intervals, lying flat or kneeling behind whatever cover the terrain offers. There are no banners, no drums, no horses. The samurai officers ride forward to identify what they are looking at, and one of them, on a white horse with a gold sashimono on his back, becomes the first kill of the day at 840 meters. A Marine-designated marksman with an M38 squad rifle fires once. The horse keeps running for 9 seconds with no rider. The samurai have no frame of reference for what just happened. They send a second rider forward. He dies at the same range. They send a screen of 50 ashigaru forward at a jog to draw fire and identify the weapon. The first M240B opens up at 600 meters and the screen ceases to exist in 11 seconds. 43 bodies. 7 wounded crawling back. The Marines have fired roughly 120 rounds and have used 0% of their effective range. Mitsunari, watching from Mount Sasao, gives the order he has to give. Full advance. Phase 2. The Wave. 70,000 men do not move as one. They move as 43 separate contingents under 43 separate banners, each commanded by a daimyo who has spent his career fighting other daimyo in this exact valley terrain. They form into mixed columns of spear, gun, and bow, and they come forward at a walk. The first wave is approximately 12,000 men across a 1,500-meter front. From the Marine line, it looks like the field itself is moving. The M250 calibers open up at 1,400 meters. A heavy machine gun firing into a packed column does not pick a target. It saturates a volume of space. The lead ranks of 3 contingents collapse in the same 8 seconds. The men behind them keep walking because they have not yet processed that the men in front are dead. Lamellar armor catches a 50 caliber round and folds inward. The round, the armor, the chest plate of the man behind it, and a segment of the third man's shoulder all arrive at the rear of the formation together. A samurai officer named Gamo Bichu, riding behind his column, is killed by a piece of his own banner pole driven through his jaw by a round that hit the pole 3 meters ahead of him. The samurai close to 400 meters. The matchlocks unsling. 10,000 gunners take their stance, blow on their slow matches, level their barrels. The first volley of 3,000 rounds is fired in a 10-second window. It travels 300 meters at 300 meters per second. Most of it falls short. Most of what reaches the Marine line strikes dirt, sandbags, or plate carrier ceramic. 3 Marines are wounded. None are killed. The samurai gunners begin to reload. 20 seconds. The Marines spend those 20 seconds firing. The Javelin gunner has been waiting for a target dense enough to justify a missile. He finds it. A single Javelin missile costs $175,000 and is designed to defeat the reactive armor of a main battle tank. Fired in top attack mode into a tightly packed formation of 3,000 spearmen on a slight downslope, it produces a casualty count that no one writes down because no one is alive at the impact point to write anything. 4 javelins are fired in the first 90 minutes. 4 formations are removed from the order of battle. By 09:30, the Marines have killed approximately 18,000 samurai. They have lost 2 men, both to lucky matchlock balls finding the gap between plate and helmet at close range during a forward screen reset. They have expended roughly 40% of their rifle ammunition. Phase 3. The arithmetic. A Marine staff sergeant somewhere on the line is doing math in his head. 210 rounds per Marine. 500 Marines. 105,000 rounds total at the start of the day. Subtract what is already spent. Subtract what the machine guns and mortars are eating per minute. The samurai casualties are mounting at a brutal rate, but the samurai count is also mounting downward at the same rate, and one of those numbers is going to hit 0 first. The samurai have 52,000 men left. The Marines have approximately 60,000 rifle rounds left, plus belt ammunition, plus 30 mortar shells, plus 0 javelins after the next salvo. The sergeant tells his lieutenant. The lieutenant tells the captain. The captain looks at the field through his ACOG and sees what is coming. Mitsunari has stopped feeding men into the meat grinder in the center. The columns are pulling back and shifting laterally. 3 new formations are gathering on the flanks, well outside 50 caliber arcs, behind low folds in the ground that the Marines cannot see into. The samurai have figured it out. Phase 4. The answer Shimazu finds. Shimazu Yoshihiro, 65 years old, veteran of 2 Korean campaigns, watches the center of his line die, and then he watches the Marines stop firing as often. He understands without being told. He has seen disciplined matchlock units run out of powder before. He gives the order that no one expected. He divides his 1,500 Satsuma men into 30 groups of 50. He sends them not forward but sideways, into the wooded folds north and south of the valley. They go on foot, with 1 matchlock per group and the rest with yari and katana. They do not charge. They infiltrate. By 11 hour, the wooded slopes on both marine flanks are full of small samurai elements, moving at a crawl through underbrush a 16th century skirmisher knows how to read, and a 21st century marine has trained for in different terrain. The Marines hear them. They see them on thermal in patches. They engage them and they kill them. But for every infiltrator killed at 30 meters with a 5-round burst, another 3 move 20 meters closer through the trees. Ammunition cost per kill rises from 2 rounds to 15. Mitsunari watches it happen. He commits the held reserves. 20,000 men in 2 great wings, walking forward through the open killing ground in the center, while the trees on the flanks fill with Shimazu's infiltrators. The center wave will die. He knows the center wave will die. The center wave is the bill he is paying to make the Marine ammunition counter reach 0 before the flanks close. It works. Phase 5. The close. At 1340, the M2 on the north end of the Marine line fires its last belt, and the crew transitions to rifles. At 1405, the last 60mm mortar round leaves its tube. By 15 Yao, the average Marine has 11 rounds left in his rifle, his sidearm, his bayonet, and his training. He has killed an average of 55 men. He has run out of ways to kill them at distance. The Satsuma men come out of the trees on both flanks at 1520. Shimazu Yoshihiro himself leads 200 of them in a final charge across the last 60 meters of open ground. He is shot twice and does not stop. The Marines fight in their own circle as they were trained to, back, in fire teams of 4, with bayonets fixed when the rifles click empty. They take down samurai at a rate of nearly 20-1 in the close fight, and it is not enough by a factor of 7. At 1610, the last organized Marine resistance, a perimeter of 41 men around the captain on the Mount Sasao Ridge, is overrun. The samurai do not take prisoners on this field. They do take heads, and they take them with the formal courtesy of men who have done this their entire adult lives. Mitsunari has won the battle. He has lost approximately 52,000 of his 70,000 men, including Shimazu Yoshihiro and Otani Yoshitsugu, and 4 other named commanders. He has 18,000 left, exhausted, half of them wounded, on a field full of their own dead. Kobayakawa Hideaki, watching from Mount Matsuo, decides not to betray him after all. There is no one left to betray him to. What the experiment proves is not that 500 Marines cannot beat 70,000 samurai. They very nearly did. They killed roughly 74% of the largest samurai army ever fielded, in 8 hours, with no air support and no resupply and a 2024 combat load. What the experiment proves is older than the rifle. An army that cannot replace its bullets is an army with a clock running in its chest, and the only question worth asking on the battlefield is who reaches 0 first. 500 Marines reach 0 in 8 hours. 70,000 samurai reach 0. On the morning Tokugawa Ieyasu's much larger force arrives to take a field already paid for in advance.